Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. I had a comment and someone was wondering about a third party. We got the Republicans and we got the Democrats, and man, do we want a third party? Uh, now, the two-party system, I, I wish it would do good. It might have done good in the past, but things have changed. Um, I'll tell you what, Kennedy uh, was a good president. So I was told. I say I was a teenager. I didn't keep up with much on that kind of stuff at that time, but he was the people really respected him, and he was a Democrat, and the Democrats aren't the same Democrats as they used to be. Just like the Republicans at this time. Well, it'd be later than that. It was 60s, maybe 70s is when I started getting in. I was old enough, mature enough to know what's going on, had businesses, stuff like that. But at that time, Republicans were more business people, were more knowledgeable about spending. And now the whole bunch are just a bunch of greedy, power-hungry people that, they don't, their actions show little desire to help the American people. So, so the two part what I'm getting at the parties have changed a lot, and now and so now is it a good system? Do we need a third party? Okay, in Guatemala they must have a dozen different parties, and what they do in Guatemala is anybody can run in any party, and like say like they have the primary, and they will do like that. But you have like say 12 parties, and you pick and all this. Now what happens is they will get two, I think two, maybe three, maybe they got three after the first election, and then they might have the three people, the top three, and then you pick from the top three, and what happens is the victor has to get a majority of the people, 51%. So if you have three running and one gets 51% and the other two are split in the 49, well then that's no big deal. If it ends up, they don't, you got two and then the one got a little bit, then they go to the another election, and then there'll be two, and so they take the top two out of the top three, and then the two will vote, and then you see which one gets the majority, and so that's how they do it. Now, is that a good system? I can't really say, and the reason I can't is because they are socialist. And Guatemala is socialist. Many of the countries down there are starting to get communist, and communist is the Communist Party. So in other words, they've been able to get the Communist Party in, and the way they run the Communist Party down there is like the way you would run a union. If you are part of the Communist Party, then you will get a job. The higher up in the Communist Party you are, the better your job is going to be. And so, in other words, if you want to join our party and get a job, then you need to be a communist. You need to do things our way. And that's, like I say, that's like unions. So, I don't know a lot about unions, but I know the unions and the communists, they kind of go parallel on getting things done, strong arming and intimidation. So, So that's what I'm saying. If you got 12 parties or 3 parties, 4 parties, something like that, then it didn't help Central America any. I'll put it that way. All right, now the third party. I'm starting to think this election, especially, I noticed. I think we have a third party. The only thing is we don't call them a third party. What we call them are independents. The last election, they didn't call them a third party, or they did. I think they did try to call them a third party, and that was the Tea Party. The thing is, the way our system is set up with the two-party system, when you get that third party, if you notice all the news, the TV, and all this stuff, they always put down the third party. I mean, even now, the third parties, we have 3 and 4 parties already, but they're not going to get in the debates. They're not going to get people of political strength. I mean, they got good ideas. Now, I don't know if they have the fortitude to make their ideas work. Even President Trump, I believe, was thinking about as a third party at one time, just like Ventura was in the third party when he was elected governor. So there is, but I would say the third party is the independents. And since they don't have a name, it seems like everybody was catering to them. I mean, if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, they expect these votes. So it's the independents, the independent party maybe, that they're trying to get. Now, who would be in the independent party? I would say somebody that's disgusted with the Democrats and disgusted with the Republicans. I became an independent many years ago. Yeah. And I think a lot of people now are doing it the same way. Because the parties have changed so much and they're still trying to look on their own values, that's why people they're not going along with them. You and I, we know the values. What is really important to our country and our local communities and our states and stuff. We know this. For some reason, the Republicans and the Democrats don't know that. And that's because they're focused on themselves. Now, I went to a Republican meeting, and it was just a local right here. I mean, there wasn't even maybe 30 or 40 people there, and all they did is discuss the what do you call it? We didn't even talk about, the federal election and stuff like that. It was mainly just the different bills that they're trying to pass in the statewide, and this type of stuff is all they did. Explained what they were all about. So when it comes to a third party, I don't think that's the answer, because like I say, Guatemala has got all this. We are close to a third party. If everybody could draw from the same gene pool, then maybe I would, but it doesn't seem like that. I mean, they got a bunch of radicals both in the Democrat and the Republican Party. I know there's still a lot of people that think President Trump is full of it, but like I say, there's some of us that he speaks the right words. Now, is he capable of getting it done? And like I say, yes, I know a lot of people say, well, I didn't like neither one of them, but I'll tell you what, our country got itself in this predicament by picking which loser isn't quite as bad as the other loser. That's what got us here. And I would say many of the President Trump supporters were more looking at, wait a minute, maybe he's got his own ideas. He's not a party guy. Kind of like a company man. People that work in companies. Maybe you work in some big ass company, big business, and the big business wants you to be a company person. I mean, your whole life revolves around the greatness of your company. So and that's kind of what they do in the Republican and Democratic Party. They want you to be a party person. You got to be right there, ready. Everything goes for the party, right or wrong. This is what you've got to believe, and that's why the parties have lost so many. Is there's people out there that have morals, people that can think for themselves, and they're thinking, maybe you Democrats and you Republicans don't have your morals together. Let's find somebody that's a strong individual, someone that I can back, someone that thinks like I think. That could be. But what do I know? This Mike, NoStressMike.com.